Hey everybody, it's Dan Sfera at www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com, where we discuss clinical trials in plain English. I got asked a really good question today, and this is why I need people to keep asking me questions, because sometimes I don't know, because I'm involved in this industry every day. I don't know the types of questions that people have all the time necessarily, and we're doing blog posts every day. And sometimes we overlook things that are pretty simple. Like today's question from someone on Facebook actually has a pretty simple answer. But his question was, and we've never dedicated a blog post to this individually. We may have covered it before, but we may have just quickly covered it. It's what do you do when you join a clinical trial and you need transportation to get to the clinic, or you end up driving yourself to the clinic, and then you have to park your car. Maybe you're living in a big urban city and it's hard to park. These costs add up. The gas, the mileage to get there, the time it took to get there, and then to park. Are these costs covered? The answer is yes. When you join a clinical trial, there are no out-of-pocket expenses for the study participant. At least there should not be. And especially for these outpatient studies, you're often encouraged to drive yourself. And most people do drive themselves, and they are reimbursed for their time and their travel. And travel will include gas, mileage, they'll see how far away you live from the clinic, and then, of course, parking. So none of that is going to come from your pocket. The research clinic is going to pay for it. But you do need to ask them before you come in, am I going to be reimbursed for my travel expenses and my parking expenses? And the answer should be yes. And if it's no, you might want to do a different study with a different research company. A related question is, what happens if I want to join a study but I don't have transportation? Now, at South Coast Clinical Trials, we have our own drivers who will go pick you up, and we pay for all of this, so the study participant is not responsible for the cost. But we'll send the drivers to go pick you up, and we'll pay them. We'll pay our drivers. We have 2 or 3 drivers on call at any time. So if we need someone to be picked up, even at the last minute, we can send someone out to do that. And we'll pay the drivers, and then more often than not, we get reimbursed from the drug companies sponsoring the studies based on the invoices that we send them for the driving fee costs that we incur. So basically, the bottom line is we try to do everything we can to make the study participant as comfortable as possible. And not only that, but of course, we don't want them spending a dime on their clinical trial out of their own pocket. So we pay for everything. And, if you don't have transportation, the research clinic should provide it for you. Now, if the research company conducting the clinical trial does not have their own drivers, they can send taxi cabs to pick you up. And of course, they'll pay the taxi cabs for that. I've even seen cases where limousines have been sent to pick up study participants. And these were usually in the big budget studies where they would do like inpatient stays. So they would actually send a limousine. That's an extreme example, but I've seen it happen. I've seen it done, and it was actually a retention strategy. They wanted people to be happy with their visits to and from the clinic, so they would send a limo. But it's usually more common to send a taxi cab or like a town car service, or for the research clinic to have some drivers on staff, who will pick you up in like a comfortable vehicle. Usually it's an SUV or a 4-door sedan. And they'll usually pick you up and you only. So you won't have to worry about sharing a ride with someone else and then being in an awkward situation where you feel like you have to talk to someone who's sitting in the car with you. They usually send one driver to pick up just one study participant at a time. Now, don't quote me on that. They may send the driver to pick you up, and then someone else who's also coming into the clinic may be on the same route, so they might pick them up. But bottom line, there's no cost to you for getting to and from the clinic. The research company should foot the bill. If you're driving yourself, they're going to reimburse you for your time and travel and parking. if you don't have a car or if you don't have transportation and you don't feel like taking the bus, they will pay for a taxi cab. They will pay for a town car. They might even pay for a limo. Who knows? Or they'll just send their own drivers. Um, if they tell you to take the bus, ask them what are my other options. Don't just settle for that, because sometimes they'll just say, well, why don't you take the bus? Because they're trying to save costs. But there are other options for you. And if they don't send you a car, or they don't want to pay for a taxi to come pick you up, or they don't want to send a driver and they tell you to take the bus, maybe look around for different research clinics, because for the most part, the reputable ones, they will send you a car to pick you up. Hope that helps. Bottom line is, don't worry about transportation costs or parking costs or travel expenses, and don't worry about even if you don't have a car. Don't be shy to tell them, hey, I have no transportation and I don't like taking the bus, so what are my options? And, usually they have transportation for you, and this is very common. So hope this helps. www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Let me know your experiences with transportation to and from the research clinics, and let me know if I'm right or wrong. Thanks a lot. www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you.